Hi class, I just wanted to make a quick little video to talk to you about your new media midterm assignment because this assignment's difficult and I know there's a lot of text, and the biggest problem that students have with this assignment is when they skip something that's an integral part of the assignment. Some of you will read the text and that will be fine for you, but for those of you who are more visual auditory learners, I thought it could be useful to talk about what this assignment's actually asking you to do. So the very first step, I say step one is analyze a text and identify central points. Really, step one is to pick what text that we've read as a class so far that you want to work on. I'm going to work with an example that's impossible for any of you to write about, so I don't steal anyone's thunder. And I'll talk about Mark Twain's Tom Sawyer. That's a post-Civil War text, so it's not something that we read. So if I wanted to write about Tom Sawyer, I'd want to have a sense of sort of the text as a whole, and more specifically, what I like a sub theme that I'd want to write about. So if I was writing a normal paper, what might be the topic of that paper? I might be interested specifically in, say, imagery of death in Tom Sawyer. So the first step is to get a broad sense of the role that death plays in Tom Sawyer, and sort of have that to the side. Step two is selecting lines. I say focus on a group of lines, 5 to 10 lines, from a text that highlights your chosen theme or central concept. Quote them exactly as they appear in the Norton. Again, we're not using the Norton edition, so quote them exactly as you see them in our Project Gutenberg or other links that we're using for the class. But I want your final project to include word for word something from the historical document that you're reading. So in Tom Sawyer, I'd pick a paragraph or two paragraphs where I think death is a particularly prominent theme. Then step three is choosing a medium. So what we're really doing for this project is taking something that was old and historical and imagining it in a totally new way. Exactly the way that Lin-Manuel Miranda takes actual lines, things Alexander Hamilton or George Washington actually said, and then he turns them into his sing through musical. We're doing the same thing, but you guys pick whatever medium you want. So since I picked the theme of death and Tom Sawyer, maybe what I'd want to do is kind of a dark collage with death imagery in it, and do like a painting that has the text laid over the painting. But you guys can do anything. You can make a TikTok, as many of you guys did for your creative responses. You could write a short story. You could write a poem. But the important thing that sometimes people miss is that I want that original text to be a part of it. So if you're writing a poem, for example, I don't want you to just translate, say, Anne Bradstreet into your language. I want Anne Bradstreet's actual words to be a part of that final paragraph. And whatever you do with it, poem, collage, TikTok, what have you, I've had students make dioramas, anything that you want to do. It should accentuate that large theme that you have that you want to draw out from step one. So whatever I turn in my example, a collage that uses a lot of kind of Gothic and death imagery that will set off the quote that I use. So step four is actually creating your new text. So it's going to depend on what that looks like is going to depend completely on what you choose to do. You might, if you're making a video, you actually make the video. If you're making a collage, you make the collage. Make sure that that original text from the historical document is a part of it. And then step five, this is really the important kind of gradable part, is a reflection where you answer these questions. Why did you pick this quotation? I don't want you to just say, I picked this quotation because I like it. Remember that steps 1 and 2 are about analyzing the text as a whole and thinking about how these specific lines relate to that overall theme. So I want your answer for step 5 to tell me a little bit why you think this quote helps communicate this overarching theme that you want to explore in your project. What was the theme or idea you wanted to amplify? Why did you think this medium was the best way to express that theme? So sticking with my example of Tom Sawyer and death, if I were to make like a really sunny, happy picture, that doesn't necessarily amplify that theme of death. Maybe it creates a contrast. Whatever you choose, even if you feel like it's really obvious, like I have skeletons all over my hypothetical picture, I still want you to say why you thought art was a good medium to use, why you wanted to turn to video, why you wanted to write a short story, why you wanted to write a poem. Explain what you were going for and why you thought whatever creative choice you made would help you communicate something interesting about that text. And finally, how do you feel about the process and result? Was there something you wanted to accomplish but couldn't? Students sometimes feel a little nervous about this assignment because they'll think like, oh, I'm not an artist. But it's okay if your final project, if step 4 isn't perfect. I want you to learn something through the process of trying to create something new out of something old. So was there something you wanted to accomplish but couldn't? Is there something you were really proud of? Did you learn anything about your original quotation by trying to express it in a new way? Did anything completely surprise you? Um, Step 6, I see my date is wrong here, and I'll fix that. Papers and projects are due electronically by the end of the week. So this is just one part of your midterm, and the other parts are a timeline where you take three of our readings and kind of articulate how they express some change over time. And then midterm quizzes, which are exactly from the same question bank as quizzes that you've already had. So you should be prepared for those. The new media project is really the most creative, and I just thought this would be helpful. So if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to ask, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with. Good luck.